just.
You want to do it? I
We have a
can
little bit
stand, that's no
larger crowd
problem,
than
go
what-
ahead, yes.
And I anticipate
No, I'm gonna
that,
push-
some of
Oh,
you may
okay,
be here to
Yeah, I
speak
didn't-
during the
that would make more
public
sense.
comment period.
Some.
So if
No,
you
mine.
have, if you do wish to, that is the reason you come here tonight, you want to speak during public comment. Make sure that you sign up on the, sheet, out in the lobby. And, then, also, you know, in order to give everybody, if we do have, several people that are wanting to speak tonight, we'll have a timer up here on the screen. If you can kind of help us follow that, you know, we'll grant everybody, you know, a 3-minute period to express your, you know, your concern or whatever you have. But I just want to make sure everyone was aware of the sign-up sheet out in the lobby before we got started. And good to have everybody.
Why are you scared?
Be the last one.
Okay, I do have 6 o'clock on my iPad here, so we'll go with that. I would like to, again, welcome everyone here to our regular monthly meeting of the Grayson County Board of Supervisors. And at this time, I'll call our meeting to order and ask Mr. Smith if he would be kind enough to lead us in the invocation and pledge allegiance, please.
County we live in, for the displaced citizens that have come out tonight, having what's going on in their county. Thank you for our board of supervisors. So, thank you. Be with us in this meeting tonight. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. And I also know that some of you may have come here tonight expecting to see our new county administrator. And I think sometime back, they had made plans to have a retirement celebration for him in DC and with the Department of Homeland Security. And I think the Secretary of Homeland Security is supposed to speak, and that celebration for him is tomorrow. And we weren't going to make it too rough on him and make him have to drive up into the night to get there for his retirement celebration, because we thought it was a pretty big deal. So Mr. Smith will be at him this afternoon, and so that will be the reason why Mr. Boyer's not here with us tonight. I would remind everyone of the quorum, which is on the back of the agenda if you have one. We will recognize same and exercise same proceedings and behavior as in any court or legislative room found within the Commonwealth of Virginia. And when we do have some speakers speaking public comment period, we ask that you be respectful and listen to them. And then if our speakers will adhere to the 3-minute time period, so we do give everyone that has signed up an opportunity to speak. We have the agenda before us, and the chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion before the board in a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair also aye. Okay, we're not scheduled to have any public hearings tonight, which brings us into the reports, presentations portion of our agenda. Our first speaker is Ms. Vicki Keithlin Norrick, Director of Day Report, with her biannual report. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is our third quarter report, and I'm pleased to report that so far our program, my program, county's program, has saved $130,092.06. In jail days saved, we have saved $134,662.11. In community service, we have saved $26,381. In cost and fees, we have saved $3,625. Also, I'd like to report that one of my individuals went to the rec department. He is a licensed tree business, and Keith needed some work done at the rec department, cutting down some trees. So we saved the county $7,984.28 by him doing that tree work for his community service for the county as well. And I would also like to report that I have had 2 graduates from Day Report, 8 that has completed recovery court, and 4 that has completed my first offenders this reporting period.
Always glad to hear about saving money.
So you've been in a job how long now?
Since August.
Right. So what's your assessment of some challenges and opportunities in the program? I mean, we're moving into budget season, not asking for your budget request,
Yes.
but are there some things that you would like to see change that might help achieve better results than what you've done there?
Yes. Of course, there's always, my individuals struggle with transportation, getting here.
Right.
Testing, evaluation, drug screenings, treatment, all wraparound services. That would help a lot.
Does that translate into dollars that you need, or is there some other ways that we can help?
Without saying a whole lot, the grant money that we hope to be applying for
Okay,
will help with all that.
okay.
Mhm.
I don't know that you, last time, sorry, Mr.
No, that's fine.
The senior advocacy committee is working on senior transportation. Were you at the last meeting?
I've not been to any of those meetings.
Okay, so we'll get you an invitation, because that's the one issue we're working on right now, is
Okay.
transportation, and trying to improve that for senior, really for everybody. So we'll get you the next one. It's coming up the end of this month.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well done, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman and Board, I just think it's phenomenal, the job and the creativity that this program and Vicki, they've done there, and such as the example she used out at the Red Park. That's dollars that we probably would have spent a lot more than $7,000 in the amount of work that was done out there. And it was with a tree expert and that knew what he was doing, and we were covered. The county was not liable in case we covered all our bases on that and got that work done for community service. And I just think that's a great example of what goes on in this program. Besides stopping the recidivism of people going into the program or going to jail and then going right back you heard the graduation rate. And if we can have some successes like that with our citizens in Grayson County, then that's great to stop recidivism and our drug problem, different things going on in Grayson County.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, get them back on the right track and retrieving. That's great stuff. Okay, our next presenter is Susan Patrick, PhD, Director of Childhood Success, and Crystal Rasnick. Okay, Childhood Success Outreach Coordinator, United Way.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time for us tonight. And thank you to Linda for getting us on this schedule in time. We're here to represent the Grayson County Child Care Task Force, which met last week. And we had a great turnout at that meeting. A lot of people in the community are very interested and concerned about childcare for your region, for this part of the region. The task force for childcare here in Grayson County was formed back in 2019 and started working on this project. And I've heard today that maybe even it was before that. Is that right, Lisa? So it happened a little bit before 2019, but in 2019 we requested for United Way to complete a child care assessment for the area, and that's included in your packet for tonight. But I have more updated recent data that I'd like to talk about tonight that will give you a little bit better idea of what's going on in your county related to childcare. First of all, we know that people need to be able to work. And in order to be able to work, they need someone to care for their children who are young and not in school yet. Across the state of Virginia, we're seeing large variation in the amount of child care that's available to families. Nationwide, there's about a 31% gap in the amount of child care that's available versus how much is needed. In Grayson County, we are only serving about 20% of the children that need to be served, so that leaves us with an 80% gap. And the state of Virginia has only about 11% of the gap. So you guys are significantly, deficit in the availability of childcare in this region, which I don't think is a surprise to anyone, because you did spearhead starting this task force. So as we think about childcare in Grayson County in particular, and knowing that we have this kind of workforce challenge throughout the entire region and really the entire country right now, there's been a more and more interest on how do we focus around building the infrastructure that will protect those young families who have young children, to keep them in your region, to keep them working and contributing members of society. And childcare is one of the number one things. In fact, you all had a community health assessment done just here in 2022, reporting that that lack of childcare is the number one problem in Grayson County. And that was completed by Mount Rogers Community Health. So what are we going to do about this problem? Or I guess, first of all, I want to talk about a little bit about your childcare inventory, which is in your packet for tonight. You currently have 130 children that can be served in this county, while you have 680 children who are age 0 to 5. So that's, again, only about 20% of the children that you actually have here in the county can be served. And those numbers include your Head Start or Early Head Start, your VPI programs or your public school preschool programs. And you do have one religiously exempt center here that's including, and one family day home, so a small group home that's caring for children. These are licensed centers. Those are regulated by the state in some way. There may be other people who are caring for children out there in your community, but they're not being regulated by anybody. So they are not, and they're not participating in any quality enhancement initiatives like we do through the United Way of Southwest Virginia. So while they might be the most wonderful place on earth, nobody knows about them, and other than the parents that are using them, and nobody knows what kind of quality that their education they're providing to children. So that kind of brings me to what's going on right now. That's a big opportunity for all of the state of Virginia, and in particular in our region. The governor has announced the expectation of expansion of the mixed delivery project. Now, mixed delivery is a program that uses a blend of state and federal funding to provide publicly funded slots in private childcare centers. So for the past 2 years here in Grayson County, we've been offering this program free to parents, so they don't pay anything for this program. And we currently are serving 15 children at Igniting Futures Academy. And this location is in partnership with Rooftop of Virginia and the United Way of Southwest Virginia. And they are currently serving, as I said, 15 children, which is bringing about $150,000 into the community in tuition assistance to those families. So not only is that saving families money from having to pay for that service, but it's also providing funding to pay for staff to work in the child care center and other resources that are going back into your community. This partnership between United Way of Southwest Virginia, Rooftop, and Igniting Futures, as I said, has been going on for about 2 years. And the biggest obstacle we've had over and over again is space. They don't have a permanent home where they can house this facility and serve these children. There hasn't been any opportunity for them for expansion because they never know from 1 year to the next where they're going to be able to provide this service. We have really dedicated families in this program, dedicated administrators and teachers in this program. And yet again, at the end of this school year, they will not have a place to provide this service. So we're here on behalf of the task force to ask the county if there's anything that you can do to help support this initiative. Is there a building available somewhere? Is there funding available to help renovate any retail spaces or anything like that? So we're here to really say, we want to bring this to your attention because we know it's a huge issue for the county. We know that people need to work and they need childcare to be able to work. So it's an economic issue as well as an issue around education for children. I heard you talking just moments ago about a kind of a second chance program. Let's get to them before they make it to her program. Let's start really early and invest in early education. There is lots of data out there about early education and the investment possibilities. In fact, the latest data about that shows that there could be a 13% in return on investment. And I have that here in my notes. Let me make sure I said that right. Yes, a possible 13% return on investment if you invest in high quality education programming in the first 5 years of life when the brain is developing and all of those social structures and capabilities are developing in your brain. So it's worthwhile investment, and we'd love for the county to consider it.
I just want to say that in your packet, Rooftop and Igniting Futures has been working very hard to find a building. You will see a list of locations that they have diligently reached out to, trying to get help around this. I just wanted you to see the effort that they put into it. And with mixed delivery, we get our new funding on July 1. The amount of dollars is increasing significantly. So you're at 150,000 right now. Next year you will be at 200,000 if we can keep this in here. If we can find a building and expand to infant and toddlers, you're looking at $21,000 per student. So just want to let you know those rates are increasing significantly. The state sees that they want to have a 100% true cost model of what it costs to run a child care, supply that well, and fund the teacher and have a stable revenue coming in. So there's money to sustain it. As Susan said, we just need help locating your building, potentially remodeling and getting it ready to go, and all this needs to happen by July 1. So thank you all for listening to us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we got a market board.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So I'm just trying to, 130, you said 130 slots that you would have? Am I reading that
So
right?
currently, right now, in the county, there are 130 children under the age of 5 that are being served. Whether that's in a Head Start center, at a school building, pre-K, in a family day home, or at the religiously exempt center that you have in the county.
So if, with your all's program, what would be the income cap? What would disqualify someone from, say, two parents make too much and their kid wouldn't qualify?
So Rooftop of Virginia and Igniting Futures is licensed to serve any family through the Mixed Delivery Project. They serve families that are under 200% of the poverty line, or if their child has a disability, or if they meet a certain other criteria. Maybe the parent didn't graduate from high school, if they're homeless, there's some other criteria that are not coming to my mind, but there's a list of criteria around who qualifies for mixed delivery and receives that free service. But they are licensed to serve any family. There would be a charge associated with that family, but they could serve any family.
Well, I appreciate your data, your information, and this, we all, I think up here agree that we have an issue. The only thing I would like to share with you is a story, because I feel like because people aren't regulated or monitored by the state, it doesn't mean the quality of service the kids are getting is adequate. And my 3 kids are grown, but they were in preschool and under regulated, monitored situations. But I know a girl, she's a stay-at-home mom in the northern end of the western end of the county, and I just met this family recently, and her little girl is way far advanced from where my kids were at her age, because she works with her every day, and she's a homeschool mother. So I think there's some value into that too, and that might need to be part of our considerations, how we can help those type folks too.
Absolutely. So one of the types of childcare that can be available is inside someone's home. So it's called a family day home. Those can be licensed. And if they're licensed, then they can participate in quality enhancement initiatives like VQB5, which is the state's measurement and improvement system that's just recently been enacted. This project helps them learn how to provide really high quality education. They have to use a curriculum. They have to be observed by different observers throughout the year. So those programs are there and available. But again, startup funding for someone who wants to do that, it can be a significant investment. And so far, although we've done repeated efforts at trying to get grant funding for that, we haven't been able to achieve that yet. So if that's something that the county might be interested in, and maybe, sort of an entrepreneurial sort of contest or something, who can show us the model that you'd like to replicate with a family day home. If you already know someone who's caring for children, and honestly anyone in this room, please have them call United Way, because we can help them to achieve that license, and then they too can be a mixed delivery provider, receiving that steady flow of income that they know they're going to get, and they don't have to.
The example that I use, she's just taking care of her kid.
Oh,
She didn't have other kids in there. I didn't want to be misleading on that, but I like the idea and the concept that you just mentioned because of our geographics.
Yes.
Of course, Independence is central with 3 schools, so obviously that makes a lot of sense. But folks aren't going to drive from the western end down here to drop their kids off to go back to work in Marion, and the same from Elk Creek and Wytheville and Baywood and et cetera. So something like what you just mentioned would be very helpful throughout the county. So it may be hitting on something there.
Yeah, we can definitely bring that back to the task force and talk about how we can implement that. But we'd love to see, you all put some, energy behind it, get some people talking about it. because I think that's the way we're gonna move forward on this project. And I've been saying for a while now that family day homes might be the solution for Grayson County because you are so sparsely populated in different areas. But at the same time, we have a program, a really good program that just needs a space. So don't let that fall off your radar.
Okay, thanks
All right,
again.
thank you so much.
It's got one more. So you've got a short-term need, I understand it, 1 July, that's pretty close. But understand the need. But the longer-term need, the one you just described with Supervisor Anderson, I think there is interest in that program. And so the first question is 21K, if that's the new tuition assistance, is that enough to sustain an in-home, a small in-home care facility if we have one or several throughout the county? Is that, does the math work to make it a profitable venture? Because right now, I'm not clear what it is that's preventing folks from maybe getting into this. Is it, what is that? Or are there barriers? What are the barriers?
I do think there's a lot of different barriers to this. First of all, you have to find somebody willing to open up their home and to be regulated. There are some sort of red tape kind of issues. They have to have the right kind of setting. They have to be approved by the fire marshal and the health department and all of those kinds of things. So there's rules around the facility itself or their home. So a lot of people don't want to open their home to that kind of critique. And so I think that's one barrier that we'll face with in-home care. Another one is that many providers for in-home, they don't necessarily have any business skills. So we find that very often that sometimes they can't sustain because maybe they say, oh, well, this parent's having a hard time. I'm not going to have them pay their tuition. And then the parent's just continuing to come and they're caring for their child and they're not getting reimbursed at all for that, for their time and energy. So by bringing in a program like mixed delivery, that might eliminate some of that problem and make sure that even if they only served 2 infants, that would be a $42,000 paycheck for them every year just to serve those 2 infants. So that if you're going from 0 to $42,000 a year, I would think that would make it worth your investment of whatever you might have to do as far as your time. Now, anything you might have to do to your home, those startup expenses, they may not have that available to them if they're not currently working or they don't have some savings to be able to invest in that. So that could be a place where there's an opportunity there to provide that to people who are interested. We do have a series of trainings called Family Day Boot Camp, Family Day Home Boot Camp that we provide for anyone who's interested in that kind of service. And we talk to them about what you're going to have to do to your home, how you're going to have to go about getting licensed, what it means to care for other people's children, and the rules and regulations around that. So we do have some things that we can offer once you have some people interested in that.
So I guess 2 statement and question. The federal funding that we've got through the American Rescue Plan, I think our number 2 priority is for child care. So there is some funding, you may be aware of that, at least you may have told me that. But I guess the question then for the staff is, maybe chair is just, do we need an action item to help look for this building, this facility? I mean, maybe we're already doing it, we don't need it, you tell us that, but what's your?
The meeting when we were at Rooftop, our new county administrator and Mr. Belton was there. And we've already have started to look for such buildings and already given them 1 or 2 to consider, and in the process of trying to get a hold of one of the owners on one that's a possibility. So we're already tracking.
The boot camp, do you have brochures or information
I
maybe
can
you
send it to you.
could, not necessarily to me, but to the administration, and
Yes,
try to get that out?
absolutely.
That would be
Right, for
good.
sure.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would say, Mr. Chairman, that, and board, that we have a lot of people in the room tonight, and someone might know of a possibility. And if they do, we'll be glad to consider that and hear that here in the administration office. We could pass that on to United Way.
All right, next on the agenda under new business, resolution intent to abandon portion of Camp Dickinson Road. I think, Jay Black. Can take care of that. Have it on the iPad if you want.
So at our last meeting, I brought a request from Camp Dickinson in regards to abandoning a portion of Camp Dickinson Lane. And I was given the ability to proceed. So tonight I bring to you the formal resolution of a notice of intent to abandon a portion of Camp Dickinson Lane from the secondary road system of state highways. Whereas it appears that the secondary highway Route 640 from the Virginia state line of Grayson County to 239.18 feet for a distance of approximately 0.0453 miles serves no public necessity and is no longer necessary as part of the secondary system of state highways. Now therefore it be resolved, the clerk of the board is directed to post and publish notice of the board's intent to abandon the aforementioned segment pursuant to section 33.2-909 of the Code of Virginia of 1950 as amended. Be it further resolved that a certified copy of the resolution be forwarded to the Commissioner of the Virginia Department of Transportation.
So we'll need a motion to go forward then, and then you'll post.
To move forward. So from this day forward, I will take this to the Transportation Board. I will post signs along that particular section, and they will stay there for 30 days. Therefore, when we receive no public comment for a public hearing, then that will proceed on with the abandonment for the through VDOT.
Okay, Chair, you entertain the motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
So you're anticipating no public comment? Is that?
I am
We don't-
anticipating no public comment. Camp Dickinson owns that particular section and they own the campground beyond. And they have already discussed with those particular campers who rent those lots either nightly or sometimes permanently. They're all excited about it. So I think the gated system will help everyone in general.
Okay, with no further discussion, this will require a roll call vote. Mr. Anderson? Aye. Mr. Pham?
Aye.
Mr. Ivy? Aye. Mr. Bell? Chair also aye.
Thank you.
All right, I guess you're up to bat too on the road abandonment for
Yeah.
requests for Dixie Road.
Yeah, they seem to be coming like crazy. So I was contacted by Miss Margaret West sometime back in late January, and I explained to her the process of what she was wanting to do. And so she sent the letter of request to the Board of Supervisors tonight for your consideration. And I've had our IT kind of put a map up here for me so that I could kind of explain what has happened. And I wasn't aware of it myself until I actually went out and visited the property. This particular map comes from Google Earth, and you can actually see an old Route 756 that followed and comes out on Cornerstone. This apparently is a 100-year-old road that did not get properly abandoned by VDOT when they redone the road. So what has happened is there's some runoff coming off of Cornerstone into Miss West's property, causing some erosion and sediment control problems. And she contacted Soil and Water to get them to help with the creek. And so as part of their research, they realized that this road needed to be abandoned so that they could help her. This particular three pieces of property, it's around 60-some acres between Mr. Elliott, William Elliott, and Miss West. So there must be a creek that's down in here that's getting eroded away that needs some help. And David, can you roll up to the next screen? All right, so this is our current GIS. You can kind of see there's no road there. So you can kind of follow where it may have been 100+ years ago. And so it would come out there. I think Mrs. West's husband used that to be able to farm back and forth between the two pieces of property. So if I might, I will read you the letter of request. This is from a joint letter from Margaret West and William Elliott dated January 31st, 2023. With this letter, we request abandonment of 0.602 miles of old Route 756, part of Dixie Road. We recently found out that the former road running through both our properties at 1703 Cornerstone and the track of 73A77 on Dixie Road, this part of Route 756 has not been serviced by the county or VDOT for a number of years and has not even recognizable as a former road, abandoned road, or just a field trail. When the Cornerstone property was auctioned and bought 26 years ago, there was no mention of a road running through it. There was also no mention of it in the deed or map provided at the time. However, GPS still shows the road as existing and causes a lot of confusion for visitors and delivery businesses. Recent rains and storms have triggered massive runoffs from both roads and caused heavy erosion on the properties, which we cannot repair until the road has been legally abandoned. Tim Phipps, New River Soil and Water Conservation, brought our attention to the abandoned road. He will be able to clarify the situation if needed. Mike Phipps at VDOT has also been researched the situation and might be of help to provide more detailed info. We appreciate your help in the matter and look forward to your reply. So I visited Miss West earlier in the week so that I could kind of get a visual of how that road played out. Maybe can you scroll up a little bit? So this is a couple of pictures. This is the erosion that's coming off Cornerstone. And it is just eroding away at her property. You can actually see the cut through here. This is the old abandoned road. And so that is her request. I did contact Mike Phipps earlier, and he did confirm that that particular portion had never been abandoned. And for us to be able to do so, we would have to receive the request from the owners and then bring it to the board. And we would do a formal if we got the green light tonight, we would do a formal resolution next meeting. Do you have any questions for me?
I'm just a little confused. Why does Cornerstone have anything to do with Dixie Road?
Good question, because I actually got lost. The GPS system is just really wonky right now. I've reached out to VDOT and I've reached out to Twin County E911. Dixie runs into Cornerstone. And so at some point, the history from way back was that people would use this as a bypass to get to the triangle, to the corners to church, Cornerstone Church. So that was the shortcut years ago.
It's not the question was why can't they work on Cornerstone, whether that road's there or not?
So I think they've got to abandon that before they can actually work on Cornerstone. I was told by Miss West it is in the 6-year plan, but it's been on the 6-year plan 3 times, she told me. So that does need, they did do some work there. You actually seen what VDOT had done, but it is not helping. So we need to address that, and that will be something that I will address with Mitch, and we will try to take care of that. I don't think that has anything to do with the abandonment, but that particular eroding has a lot to do with her property being affected.
Is there any way we could tie these two together and have the hearing at on the same night, or is the timeframe's not gonna line up?
Well, typically, I was always under the understanding that we needed to request it and not just give you a resolution at the same time. It was something that formally we needed to request and then come back to you as long as you approved.
Any further discussion? The chair would entertain a motion to direct staff to proceed with the process of abandonment.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair also aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, next under new business will be board appointments. Mr. Smith.
Okay, Mr. Chair, we just need to take care of now that we have a new county administrator, he will become the clerk of the board, and I will revert back to as the deputy clerk of the board. And then we have one appointment that Supervisor Hash has worked on and has an appointment that he's recommended for filling the term in his district on the Rec Park Advisory Board. And that's all the appointments we have for tonight.
Any questions or discussion?
Chair, I'll make a motion to accept all three of these. Second.
Second. Further discussion? All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair also aye. Okay, which brings us to request for a public hearing for establishing the Grayson County Wired Authority. Mr. Evans, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. County management requests that the board authorize a public hearing to be conducted during the April 13th meeting regarding the establishment of a wireless authority. As you know from prior discussions, the primary goal of the county's communication infrastructure plan is to provide reliable and redundant service assets across the entire county, and to attempt to our best ability to eliminate the voids and the disconnects in communication that exist. There are three specific areas that we hope to achieve. Universal access to broadband for all citizens. And I use that term, universal access. If you want it, you get it. If you don't want it, you don't have to take it. At least you have the option. Reliable cell service. Being a person that lives in the western side of the county, hit and miss doesn't describe cell service in Whitehall. Basically non-existent, hits the mark. And then last but certainly not least is having state-of-the-art 911 communication capabilities across the county. Management believes that a wireless authority will enable us to accomplish these goals more effectively. We all know we're in the midst of a project with AEP and Gigabeam that includes fiber and some wireless internet broadband services. But we've learned a lot of lessons from that project thus far. And we believe the Wireless Authority will allow the county to take advantage of state regulations. There are statutes specifically established to govern wireless authorities that counties establish, to develop partnerships with additional vendors that can bring new technology and new approaches to overlay on the services that are now being offered to the county, to try to fill in the holes that exist around our county. A wireless authority will also give us greater access to funding grant funding that's coming now from the state and federal governments. And there is a new round of funding that'll be coming from the feds in 24 that a wireless authority will position us very effectively to hopefully access. And last but not least, it's always a concern when you establish something, what does that mean to the budget? The wireless authority can be set up without adding any additional personnel to the county budget. The initial board of supervisors would end up being the board of supervisors for the authority. And as project manager of the current broadband project, I could serve as the project manager under the wireless authority. So I hope you'll consider this request and authorize that meeting. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Rick? Kind of motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. I'm trying to wrap my hands around this, and we spent quite a bit of time. I'm not the best student. Because anytime we create another authority, we're creating another layer of government, more bureaucracy. And that seems to be where we've been for the last year, trying to solve the issue. And I think that's a prime example is when we as a government get in and try to solve everybody's issues, this is kind of what happens. I'm in favor of having a public hearing, but I guess my concern is if folks from the public come, I don't know that they may be like me, they don't even know what to ask. So I'm not sure how much input we may get, great deal of input, but I just wanted to share that with you, something to think about. I don't know if we're going to put more information out for the citizens prior to this, or are we just, is this it?
No, this isn't it. This was just an introduction. Okay. We will put information on the website, county's website. We're working on that content right now. And I would hope that the local paper may have an interest in talking with us so that we could use that as a forum to get information out. And certainly anybody that has specific questions, Supervisor Anderson, call me. I'd be happy to try to take those questions and get information out so that people can make an informed decision.
And is it part of the request, or are you asking that, is this, the details of how this would be set up is not in your request? It's just a hearing to discuss that, whether if we put discretionary spending in authorize the authority to have discretionary spending, or if we're just going to work as a pass-through, who serves on that authority, those things are still part of the discussion.
Correct.
For the hearing.
That's correct.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any further discussion?
I think it's important to remind folks the county's been part of the wireless authority for 15 years, the Wired Road, and what that partnership has been able to do, and again, it has struggled with success in some areas, a lot of areas. But it does give us a seat at the table when it comes to accessing additional funding for what we're trying to do on getting broadband access to everyone. So the Wired Road is an example of that. What's changed though over the years is that the regional authorities, which is what originally was authorized by the General Assembly, has now been delegated down to allow counties to be able to have these wireless authorities. And so having an authority for the county to be able to focus on county assets and county capability and different technologies and accessing different funding is really what it's all about. Broadband committee, we'll hear about what we're trying to do on the 22nd of March, I think. And then there'd be each, I think, 3 of the 5 board members have had a presentation about what this all entails. And then, of course, a presentation next month prior to the public hearing. So that's at least the way it is right now. Thanks, Mr.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the board. No further discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Chair also aye. Thank you. Mr. Smith, we'll
brings us to the county administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board, and just a few things that I mentioned. We are in effect with the burning law, the 4 p.m. burning law, and that goes through Sunday, April the 30th. And if anyone would like more information on that, they can go to the Virginia Department of Forestry and to their website, look at that. Saturday, we will start the new trash drop off that we discussed several months ago. And that will start on this Saturday. We'll come on the east side of the building for the Saturday pickup where people drop their trash off and have the bin sitting there. That, if I refresh your memory, we won't have to have personnel to come in and move the bin over after the Saturday pickup. We can leave it sitting there on the east side of the building after that pickup. And so that takes care of, we put our gate openers in and we finally got the electricity work to do that. So that takes care of that issue. And we've done what we promised we'd do on that. Friday, March 31st and April the 1st will be the Legends of Grayson's Old Time Weekend. It'll be held at the 1908 Courthouse in Independence, and there'll be more information on that. Contact Grayson County Tourism at 773-888-0002 if you want more information on that. The Rec Park will be having another egg hunt this year on April the 1st. There'll be more information coming on that. I think it's 0 to 13, and then they'll be divided up according to age groups. But there'll be prizes for each one of the age groups, and I think the one from whatever it includes up to 13 is may include a free pool pass. So we'll probably have some kids that are interested in going and seeking that. April the 1st, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. in Galax will be the household hazardous waste collection point and personal document shredding. And that's for the people on the east end of the county. You can go into Galax, you don't have to drive all the way up to the Public Works facility. But for the ones here in Independence and West, that will happen also at the Grayson County Public Works that same day from 1 to 4 p.m. And that's a good place to get rid of any hazards waste collection that you may have at your households, and to get some personal documents shredded that maybe are bigger than your old shredder at home might do. August the 10th through the 12th, just remind you again that that's the Grayson County Ag Fair. Will be held there. Lindsay Young's taking care of that. You can reach her here in the county offices. And then September the 9th and 10th will be the second annual Ag and Art Adventure that will be held. And I think this year they're adding maybe a bus tour for people that got lost or don't want to drive through all the county to do this. For the farmers and artists that they want to go see, I think there'll be actually a bus tour with the county bus that if you choose to ride that. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now brings us to our registered speakers and public comment portion of the agenda. Yes, we. Yeah, okay. We'll take about a 5-minute recess, and then we'll start back with public comment.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Are you filming the board meeting?
We stream it live to YouTube, so if you can catch it live, but if you can't, it's on the county's website channel. A lot of people check in the next day or over the weekend. It's kind of low tech for right now, but we're a county admin. We're not a television.
Do you film the public speakers too?
Yeah, I get essentially from the speaker to about where Mr. Anderson's at. We get a few heads in the way. I try to stay out of the way. Yeah, well.
Very
There's a lot of mistakes. Because of the issue, not use that spiritual purposes, but it goes back to the cassette administration office. The lobby's pretty tight. Finally, but then it's still LED signage. They were talking about medicine. How can you get all that? Doing a lot of stuff.
So basically we were taking the operator, so like
Water. Well,
I'm not.
The outside is not.
Which, if they go in, like a loan. I don't think you have to. So a half
So it looks finished on the outside. That's exactly.
Basically, same kind of structure for asbestos in the anyway, whenever they should be just abandoned. Then they put it, I understand why they put it right here in one spot. That's two
I will say.
School about 4 or 5 miles of
Okay, I'll go ahead and call our meeting back to order. And we are at the public comment section on the agenda. And I will ask that everyone that comes forward to please state your name and your address, and then try to be respectful of the 3-minute time period. So, because we do have several registered speakers, and we do want to give everybody their fair opportunity to have their voice heard, okay? Nick, so the first one is Betsy Sharon.
I had something on hand once I'm done. I'm here to talk about the proposed multi-use building in Elk Creek. Not to speak for it or against it because I don't have enough information to take a stand on it yet. But I'm here to talk about the lack of transparency and the secret meetings that are taking place with regards to the building. I attended the community meeting at the Grange last fall. I asked questions and I got some answers, and those in attendance were told to get involved, that input from the community was welcome. In January, just by chance, I heard of a rumor of a meeting that was being held at the Elk Creek Fire Department. I reached out to Supervisor Fant, asking about the meeting, and was told there was one. I told him I'd like to attend, and he gave me the specifics on date and time. After attending that meeting, I was intrigued by the ideas that was being discussed, but still had questions and had some ideas of things that I'd heard out in the community, and was willing to offer my time, not as a farmer or anyone with any farming knowledge, but just as a taxpayer and concerned citizen. Again, I reached out to Mr. Fant with my desire to stay involved, and he told me that would be great and would let Ms. Young know to add me to the committee list. At the January meeting, the committee had agreed on the next meeting date, but I failed to write it down, but was thinking it was in the first part of March. I never received an email, phone call, or any correspondence from anyone on the meeting. Last Thursday, while working on my calendar for this week, I saw that I'd put down the multi-use building with a question mark. So once again, I reached out to Mr. Fant and was told that it was March 7th, 7 o'clock at Eagle View Event Center. So I put it on my calendar and arranged my schedule for that day to make sure I could attend. Well, as the rumor mill goes in Grayson County, I heard that the meeting had been canceled due to some information not being ready, and the meeting at the high school was taking precedence. So mind you, Eagle View is a 45-minute drive for me each way, so I really didn't want to go all the way there and there be no meeting. I emailed Mr. Fant for confirmation. I didn't get a response for several hours, which I don't expect any of you guys to sit by your phone waiting just to answer emails. So I called down to Ms. Young's office, left a message that I was wanting to know, gave her my work number, my cell phone. But also knowing most people check emails, even when out of the office, I sent her an email asking to confirm the meeting. She answered the email, which basically said, "Thanks, but we really don't want you." An email which came across to me is in a very negative tone, which I will give you a copy of. The email makes mention of stakeholders, which is the real reason I'm here. At the meeting I mentioned in Grant, the community was told that this project would affect the tax levy. Anything that has an impact on the levy makes every single Grayson County taxpayer a stakeholder. In the meeting I did attend at the Elk Creek Fire Department with the stakeholders appeared to be the Grayson County Administration, Grayson County Parks and Rec, Grayson Tourism, Grayson EDA, and the Grayson Ag Department, all of which are funded by Grayson County tax dollars. The Grayson County EDA has already spent $10,000 on the survey, again, tax dollars. I'm not here because my feelings are hurt that I didn't get to attend the meeting. I'm here because transparency has always been an issue in local government. And it's time for that to change today. People are becoming more aware and more involved. Secret meetings and having to be part of the good old boys club way of doing things is coming to an end. It is those kind of actions and ideas that bring divide and discourse to a county like Grayson. I still don't know how I feel about the multi-use building, but shutting the people out, this group of stakeholders that all seem to be county-driven, are not giving the people the chance to hear all the facts or have input until they bring it to this board, if they bring it to this board, and ask for funding. And by then, minds are made up, and we all know how that usually turns out. I serve on the rec board, as you all know. We have events planned, and we've had events in the past. Our meetings are open. Anyone that wants to come, make a suggestion, and be a volunteer, be a part, we welcome you. We need to get away from this "it's my project, my show" mentality. And if these groups don't want to hear from the public and have different views and input, it's simple. Don't use tax dollars. Thank you. Thank you.
If it's any consolation to you, the Elk Creek supervisor didn't know about the meeting either and was not invited, so I don't know if that matters or not, but.
Okay. Next speaker is Ms. Lynn Weekly. We'll come forward and then state your name and address.
Hi, Lynn Weekly, 232 Bridle Creek Road, Independence. We had heard about the sanctuary city for the unborn. As a wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, I think I can speak for more than one generation on my feelings in reference to abortion. Since prayer was removed from the schools and abortions became common, we're more divided than ever, and everyone talks about how divided this nation is, the county maybe, even the state even. So perhaps that's why. I gave 22 years to the military for freedoms in this country and for our people. I did not fight to give people, women, the right to murder over 60 million babies around the world since abortion became legal. Innocent babies. I'm a child of God, as is each and every one of you. Think about it. My husband's mother chose at 15 to have that man, and I thank God that she did. I won't stand by silently. My voice will be heard, and hopefully for all women. And I don't want the women to think that the men make all of our decisions. We make our decisions, but we should make them with God's advice, with God in our heart.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is John Weaver.
I'm John Weaver. I live at 2597 Skyline Highway in the Fairview area of Grayson County. I'm the manager of the Igniting Futures program for the children. It's not my center, it's theirs. We just have a wonderful time. We have wonderful parents. The kids are amazing. And our community needs this so much. I mean, these parents get to go to work and they know that their kids are fine. We send them pictures during the day, especially if they're worried about their child. If they need to talk to us, they come early, come late, they call us. Y'all, please support this program. It's worth the work. I go home exhausted every day because these kids are so busy, they're so happy, they're having such a good time. When the parents come, they're like, because they don't want to go home. So please help us.
Thank you. Thank you. Next registered speaker is Louis Phelps.
Thank you. I'm Louis Phelps. I live in the Cox Chapel community. Mr. Brantley is my supervisor. So. I want to thank you all for this time. I'm proud to be a Graysonite. Wherever I live, we moved back here in '79, and wherever I live in this country or in the other countries that Uncle Sam sent me to, I always thought of Grayson County and the people that has made this the county that it is. I hope all Grayson County, that if this ordinance is passed, that all Grayson County can say, we do not support abortion. I feel that this ordinance, with this ordinance, we can proudly say we support life. And if we support life at the moment of conception, that embryo that comes from that conception has the right to live and be the best it can be in our country. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, I appreciate what you all do. Thank you all very much.
Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Ken Scott.
Kenneth Scott, 659 Thomas Rock Road, Elk Creek. I came about the multi-use building and I hadn't been able to make any of the other meetings. My concern is just its location. My property, my house, I live where I grew up, and it backs right up to where they have the Fiddlers Convention. And I really don't want to see another, I've heard it described as a pole barn and everything else, just another construction thing that I have to look out my back window when I'm trying, the beautiful mountains and stuff like that. I don't want to see a big building stretched out there. As you all know, my granddad donated all that property, the Elk Creek School down the other side of the road. And these ladies were talking about a building. That schoolhouse is being used for a food kitchen type thing, which is great. But I don't know that any of the other part of that building is being utilized at all. I mean, it's an elementary school. I think there's one in Providence too that is not being utilized. You talked about retrofitting or something like that. You could do that something and bring kids there, and they have a playground and a place to play and fenced in. But as far as the multi-use building, there's also a gym there. I'm not sure what the multi-use building is supposed to do for us if it's not enclosed, and if it's just used on a seldom basis. I would, and quite frankly, I don't want to look at it. Now, there's places up on the school property at the end of it where the circle is, that is also part of that school property, that a building can go up there, and that's fine. But out the back, I don't care to look at it. And I don't want to pay for it, don't want to see that. And I'd really like some more information on its use. What are we going to use it for? That's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, our next registered speaker is Mr. Bill Carrico.
Good afternoon, Chairman, board members. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Bill Carrico, 1139 Turkey Knob Road, Freeze, Virginia. I'm here, as you can imagine, as a representative of this area for 18 years. I still get phone calls about issues that go on, which I'm thankful for, because I'm a resident of this county. I'm a citizen of this county, even though my job takes me many places throughout the Commonwealth. My home is Grayson County, and I always make my way back here each week, whether my commute's 4 hours or not. I heard about this Grayson County being a sanctuary county against abortion and felt compelled to come and just speak to you briefly, just because I think that's an issue that is very important today because of the Supreme Court ruling that said it didn't ban abortion. It just said that states have the rights now to set those guidelines of how abortions are handled. The fact that we are a border county to North Carolina and a portion of Tennessee, I think that you see other states strengthening their laws, and then you're allowing abortion clinics to decide whether they go to a state that's more lenient, and Virginia being one of those. I represented Bristol, Tennessee, and if you've ever read the news, Bristol, Tennessee is one of those counties in which, or cities in which that was attempting to occur. I can tell you that, having represented this area for 18 years, that I took strong stances against abortion. I spoke against it. I made it clear where I stood on that issue. And for 18 years, the people of this county sent me back time after time after time, because they knew, and they feel the same way that I do, that life begins at conception. Many people will claim that God allows a choice. I don't believe that. I believe that's wrong. Deuteronomy plainly states that it calls heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I've set before you life and death, blessing and curse, therefore choose life. We have a lot of times that we wonder about what happens in these abortion clinics. And I don't want to go into detail on that. I've heard that over and over again as a legislator. But I can tell you there's more than just the woman that's making that decision. You have activists that's convincing them that it's okay. You have ministers that's not saying that it's wrong. You have doctors that do these abortions. You have fathers that have abandoned the woman and the child. They are all just as guilty as that person who's taken the life of this unborn child. I'll leave you with a couple of thoughts just to consider as you deliberate through this. If the county does choose to do this, making Grayson County a sanctuary county, there are hurdles that you'll have to cross, because those hurdles will require you to set up some kind of proclamation and ordinance that will require a certified public need for clinic to that sort. Make it strenuous enough that a clinic cannot be built here. I can tell you that, my belief in God, my belief in what all this does is that in Deuteronomy, when it says, "Cursed be he that taketh the reward for slaying innocent persons," those are those very clinics, those Planned Parenthood clinics that are taking a reward in that. And in Proverbs 6:17, the hands that shed innocent blood is some of the things that God hates. So as I leave you tonight, just speaking to this issue, and I know I went over my time, and I apologize, but I ask you just to take a stand, because politically, I know all of you sitting there stand for political elections, and politically, I took that stand, and the people of this county backed me 100%. And by going the extra mile to do this, I believe that you choose life, and the blessings will be bestowed upon this county. Thank you.
All right, next registered speaker is Daniel Meineke.
I'm Daniel Meineke, 3856 Meadow Creek Road. I'm Fairview. I live really close to Miss Joan and a couple of other parents. My son is in the United Futures, and some of you guys were at the board or at the meeting at Rooftop and heard me talk about how important that program is. These two ladies over here from United Way, their hard work. I just really hope that Grayson County can really get behind this program. Obviously, in this room, there's a lot of parents and grandparents and folks who are definitely interested in, life and children. You've got 3 to 5 year old children in her classroom that are as full of life as you can imagine. And I'm privileged enough to have my son in that classroom, and it is nothing short of just an amazing part of our life now, in my son's life. My wife was able to go from a part-time position into a full-time position for a global company. She works for them remotely. She would not have been able to do that without this child care. And there's a lot of other parents, other people in Grayson County that would benefit just like her, just like my wife, and they could be just as lucky, I just want to express my appreciation to Miss Jones and Miss Randy, who run that program at the United Way, who helped to fund that program at the Rooftop. And I really appreciate the board for letting me speak and letting these ladies speak. Please get behind this. We need to find a facility for it. I've been looking at facilities, every day, driving around and looking at houses that maybe I could invest in to try to make this program survive. But we got to move fast. I think that in some of the paper they lay out for you, there's geographically in the dark green areas, almost the center of the most populated part is like around the Baywood area, between Freeze to Baywood and Fairview. And if we could find a building in that area or just inside Galaxy, if it's inside Galaxy, even Grayson County people are going to benefit from this immensely. They have an amazing program that deserves to continue and grow. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next speaker is Laura George.
Hi, good evening. My name is Laura George, and I live at 119 Oracle Summit Circle. And I'm here tonight because of the meeting that took place Wednesday evening. I believe I'm the only minister of an interfaith church in the county. I might be mistaken. And I want to speak tonight regarding the faiths that have not been represented thus far. I'm going to speak just to the Abrahamic religions, because I think the people in this room are the most familiar with those religions, but there are many other religions who do not believe that life begins at conception. Regarding Judaism, we've even had some quotes tonight from the Old Testament. The lawsuits are raging all across the nation from rabbis, male and female rabbis, who are saying that life does not begin at conception. These lawsuits are working their way through the courts, and in Judaism, life becomes real to them at first breath. That's birth. So that's even more liberal than Roe v. Wade, when you want to allow abortion in the third trimester. In Islam, the Quran has been interpreted pretty much along Roe v. Wade. In the Quran, it's not murder if you hurt a woman who's pregnant, unless that baby was going to be viable. So interestingly enough, the Quran pretty much followed the Supreme Court decision. It appears that Christianity alone is the religion that thinks life begins at conception, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And you want to know why there's nothing wrong with that? Because we live in the United States of America, and we're all allowed to believe whatever we want to believe regarding religion. And I want to end with that. And I also want to end by saying that we should be very proud, not only to be in the United States of America, but to be in Virginia, because it was the Virginia forebears who so carefully crafted this. First, George Mason in the Virginia Declaration of Rights. This is before we were even a nation. Next, it was Thomas Jefferson with the Virginia Act for Religious Freedom, which is still a law of the land. Next, we do come to the Bill of Rights, and again, a Virginian. And James Madison, after helping pen the Constitution, realized that there were a few things that were left out. There's a reason why religious freedom is the First Amendment. It's because it was the least controversial. I mean, in the mid-1700s, it was not controversial. Why it is today, I have no idea. But our forebears believed in religious freedom. That's what this nation is founded upon. And again, it's fine. If Christians want to believe that life begins at conception and that abortion is a sin, that is your right. But I'm here tonight to speak for the very minority view in this county, not around the world, by the way. The view being expressed here tonight is a minority view around the world. And you might say you don't care. That also is your right. But within the United States, there are many, many people who don't believe the way you do. And we need to remember that, because this county is not just a Christian county. So I really strenuously hope that this board will not move into the arena of religion. Thank you.
Okay, our next presenter, and I'm sorry if I do not get this right, is it Sunny Owelli? Okay, the address is 202 Turkey Path Lane, Mill Creek.
Okay, that's me, but I didn't sign up to speak.
Well, it had a question behind in the purpose, so okay. Maybe somebody wanted me. All right, thank you. All right, then that goes us to Mr. Ralph Tuggle.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you all tonight. My name is Ralph Tuggle, live at 1020 Peach Bottom Road in Independence. And I come to speak tonight on the subject of the presentation that we heard on Tuesday night regarding Grayson County becoming a sanctuary for the unborn. I won't take much time. I just know that most of the people that I know, everybody that I've talked to about this is highly in favor of that proposal. And I'm just coming here tonight to ask you all to give it your fair consideration. And I think your constituents would like to see you move forward on it. And I certainly would. And I thank you very much.
Thanks, Ralph. Thank you.
And next we have Ann Rose.
And remember, 3 minutes.
I know, I got 3 pages, I'm only reading 3 pages. This is for you, Mr. Boyer. And then these are for your gentleman there. I'm only reading 3 pages if you got some stand up. Ann Rose, 15 Discovery Lane. I'm a taxpayer and I'm a retiree and I have a high school education. County unanticipated revenue. The county has unanticipated revenue between $600,000 and $700,000 annually. We have a one-time federal tribal grant of $220,000. We have a one-time ARPA fund of $1.2 million. We have grants from the Tobacco Commission, Virginia Telecommunications Commission, Telecommunications Initiative for broadband, and we have grants from social services and United Way for Children. Grant money always has strings attached. Grant money originates from taxpayers. And with all this new anticipated revenue, I think the board of supervisors in the county want to spend it. Okay, there are 8 unfinished projects in the county I wanted to remind you of. Wildwood that we signed in 2010. We've spent millions of dollars in Wildwood Commerce Park out there in Hillsville to develop 167 acres and to split the revenue and spending between Grayson, Carroll, and Galax. To date, I don't think we've gotten any revenue back since 2010, 2011. Wildwood is budgeted last year at $95,000 and this year $106,000. The Gazette Journal of February 3rd said Grayson, Carroll, and Galax each have to cough up another $188,000 to match the grant that the Blue Ridge Crossroads Economic Development Authority got. Wildwood is empty. The site needs substantial development. There's a partial road, there's some electricity, and there's hydrants. It looks like someone's using it for farming. How much revenue have we shared or been returned to Grayson County? Number 2 of the unfinished projects. The Grayson Industrial Park down there by the prison. It looks like there's 3 businesses in the industrial park. I heard Tritex LLC company just left. There are businesses there like River Ridge, Mr. Ivy, and Grayson Naturals. Those are there. I think you got there right around 2020. And you have a very nice building there, but there are other 2 spaces there that are empty. So our county endeavors on industrial parks is not doing very well. We have a Twin County Airport that we're supposed to be supporting out there in Hillsville. The Twin County Airport Commission was here last week wanting more money for improvements and expansion. Grayson, Carroll, and Galax are involved in this airport. The airport has a 4,200-foot runway, 4 hangars, 2 small ones for the public, for 12 planes only, and 2 large hangars for the Twin County Commission. There are no corporate sponsors, whereas nearby Wilkes County, Pulaski, and Wythe County all have bigger runways. Hillsville and Wilkes are 27 miles each from Independence. Grayson budget was $53,000 for the airport in 2020, and this year it's $76,000 for the airport. They should get their own corporate sponsors for the small group of people that want to use their 12 planes or use a nearby airport. Why are Grayson County citizens investing in taxpayer dollars for people who own airplanes? Number 4, Martin Rogers School Project that's just been rebranded as the Western Grayson Music and Craft Museum Center. Tracy Cornett and a group of 8 local citizens are leading this project to build trails, etc., out there in the old school building. The windows are boarded up, I think, because of vandalism. It looks like the demolition of the surrounding building is done. The county EDA spent $85,000 taxpayer dollars on the demolition, and again, the EDA spent another $10,000 for stormwater, etc. Baywood, $65,000 grant that was approved by the Board of Supervisors in January. The item was never put on the agenda or the revised agenda. It was brought over Mr. Hash anyway. All 5 Board of Supervisors voted to accept this grant, even though last year's public hearing in the school auditorium showed non-support for the project. Freeze. Oh, there was a handout I had for freeze too. Sorry, one of my handouts there. There's 3 major projects going on there with private money, possible childcare, restaurant, hotel, counseling center, children's home. The project was brought to the Board of Supervisors and the EDA in December and was represented by Jordan Stidham. He provided an excellent example of profitable private childcare center. There's a lot of unknown potential for county expenditures on this. Number 7, the Independence Farmers Market. Even though it falls under the town of Independence, it's still unfinished, and the county has invested, I don't know, $38,000 for the roof, something like that. The Elk Creek multi-use facility. It's to be built on the Elk Creek Fire Department private land. The project is still, I'm almost done. I got one more page to do. Okay. Okay, it's
Can we read that?
Okay. Countywide resident questionnaire was completed in December. There were 339 responses. I went to the first stakeholders meeting, and there was a feasibility study that they talked about. The public wasn't allowed to talk or take pictures. I called the Gate Center Monday, wanted to know where the next meeting was, but I thought it was Tuesday, and they said there weren't any more public meetings. And it's been rebranded as a campus. I believe there should be at least a 50% response rate from the county, and not just, or a forum, and not just answers from 339 people. My last handout, this one's from Mr. Boyer on transparency. Mr. Boyer, you're on the YouTube there. On January 25th, they went to the county administrator's office to get the EDA minutes because I only saw May posted on the website. I went and talked to Linda. She gave me all the copies that she had. She said they're having technical difficulties. She gave me copies of the EDA minutes. Wednesday, I saw Linda again, and she said they're still having trouble with the EDA minutes. She gave me all the minutes that she possibly had. So basically, there's 3 out of 9 monthly minutes from the EDA posted online. Lacks transparency. It lacks transparency. Grayson County EDA holds taxpayer money. Currently, 1% of the county board. I heard it may be up to 2 soon. They have a balance of $618,000 as of December. The balance sheet on their balance sheet, and they're getting another 290, something like that. So they have over $908,000. As you can see from my handout, on May through November, the county EDA spent $129,000 of taxpayer money on county projects. They only spent $15,000 of taxpayer money on private business. To me, that looks like a county slush fund for pet county projects. The county EDA members are not elected officials, but have the authority to spend taxpayer dollars, which is currently based $908,000. The authority should be rescinded, or the authority should be given to an elected official, like the Board of Supervisors up here. And just where was it? It was the Economic Development Authority on promoting private childcare facilities. Any board, 3 paragraphs left, any board, committee, or authority, Mr. Boyer, that has access to or spends taxpayer dollars should be required to be fully transparent and to have timely submission of minutes and their meetings posted online and televised. There should also be one spot or one county calendar where a resident can go and see upcoming county public meetings that involve taxpayer dollars. I have to hunt around and find out where the Ag Committee or the, not the BOS, they're really good, where the EDA meetings are gonna be. And I find it difficult and concerning. And last paragraph, lastly, I watched last week's budget work sessions, and there was talk about setting county priorities. There were priorities about childcare, communication, etc. And I only heard one supervisor that stated concern about the board making more monetary obligations requiring new and ongoing costs to taxpayers, making it hard to maintain the current tax rate.
Thank you.
I'm Jill Burcham. I'm the pastor of Push Ministries. Push Ministries is an outreach ministry, and we strictly work with the homeless, the addicted, and those coming out of prison. Today, without anything official, we have 10 people in reentry. We have 8 people right now that are needing to help to get into an addiction program. And we have 3 seniors that are living in their cars.
Ooh.
Yesterday, we were invited to a meeting at the prison in Dublin. And before we went to Dublin, we talked to Sheriff On, Chief Cooper and Galax, and Sheriff Ken. And they all expressed challenges that they're having with prisoners being just dropped off at Walmart, prisoners just being dropped off in the middle of town at 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. Which what's happening is they're setting people up to fail. In our meeting with Dublin yesterday, we were asked to do the reentry program. And when we did the reentry program, and I gave each one of you, we have steps that we do, things that we do. We interview people and find out what they're gifted with. We interview them to find out if they want drug rehabilitation, and we have several rehab places that we can get them into. We work as an intermediary for families if there's any kind of challenge with them going home or them feeling their children don't love them or their wife isn't going to accept them. We have counseling that we get them together. The other challenge that we were told they have is they don't have enough drivers right now to bring people when the court system says they need to come back to Galax, Carroll, and Grayson. They don't have enough drivers to get them here. So they asked us if we would help go to Dublin and bring some of these people back. We don't have a problem with getting people to drive. We don't have a problem with any of that. And I've talked to Mitch, and he's going to work his part, and we're working our part. We're going to need gas money. We're going to need also help with places for these people to stay. Because if they get out of prison at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you can't expect them to stay on the streets because somehow they're going to get in trouble. So if any of you have any interest in anything like that, we ask you to call me. We'd love to hear your input. And we want to partner with anybody who has a passion for this ministry. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next speaker is Tabitha Rector.
Good evening. I am here also regarding the potential ordinance to make Grayson and surrounding areas a sanctuary county or city for the unborn. And I'm thankful to have heard the other speakers here that have also supported my beliefs about that. One thing that I did want to point out is that in our Declaration of Independence, it says that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That includes the babies that are alive and moving in the womb. And even though there are some religions that do not believe that the baby is human or deserves life at conception and beyond that, apparently some religions believe that that's not the case. I think the ultrasounds of today have debunked that thought or that belief that may have been true to them years ago. But in our present culture with ultrasounds that show a baby trying to get away from the forceps and in pain and suffering as it is torn apart in the womb, it shows that they truly feel pain. There are arms and fingers and legs and eyes and fully developed. And now, even though that we hear a lot about that the mother has the right to choose, someone has to choose for the baby. And the sad thing is that I seldom hear from the ones who are supporting the women and saying that they have this right. They rarely ever mention the baby inside of her. They only talk about the woman's right to life, or right to choose. And I don't know how many in here are aware, but just 2 weeks ago, on February the 23rd, there was a bill that came up in our legislature in Virginia. And so I didn't know about it, so I did not contact anyone that was voting on this. I wish I had known. That's why it's so important that our representatives inform us of the things that's going on. But what this is, and it was voted down, but it was presented by the Democrats as they wanted to codify Roe versus Wade into our Virginia Constitution. So if passed, the amendment would have removed all remaining pro-life provisions in Virginia law, and it would have prevented future pro-life laws from ever being passed. So a growing, and I'm reading this from the Virginia Society of Human Life, it says a growing number of Virginia's pro-abortion elected officials were clamoring for adding the amendment to the state constitution to make unrestricted abortions legal throughout all 9 months of pregnancy. Doing that would have codified the Roe versus Wade into our state law and could even have done even worse. So since the Roe versus Wade decision that happened in our Supreme Court in June of 2022, there are several states that have expressed the desire to allow this unrestricted abortion in state constitutions. So that's the reason that those of us who see this concern, we want to see these sanctuary cities and counties throughout the state. I hope that Virginia will do like Tennessee, and it won't have to be county by county or city by city at some point. But at this point, we're not there yet. So I hope that you all will understand why that there are so many voices crying out for the babies. Thanks.
Next speaker, Anna Walker.
My name's Ann Walker, and I live at 1092 June Stream Road in Elk Creek, Virginia. I want to talk about the 6-year plan for roads. Jim Stream Road is basically a 1-lane road. We have tractors. I'm not sure what you call them, but those big moving trailers where they move livestock. We have delivery trucks, and there is places that you just fall over the bank. Monday, I was almost hit head on. The person was going at least 40 miles an hour on a graveled road. VDOT tells me that they do not put road signs for speed limits on dirt roads. My quest is for that road to become a paved road and it to be 2-lane. I was gonna get a double wide and bring it up, and the people laughed because there's no way you can get it up the road. I have contacted the local police about some of the other goings on the road. I'd like you to just keep it in your hats. And if you're ever in Elk Creek, go up Jim Stream Road. It's right off Victory Lane. And I was in that first curve, and you can look, there's nothing there. There's no bank. I had nowhere to go. And the car climbed the bank to keep from hitting me. So it's a safety issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that's it for the public comment. Everyone that had signed up to speak. No one's presented me with any requests for time during the Board of Supervisors time. And we do have a closed session slated related to the acquisition or disposition of real property pursuant to 2.2-3711A3 of the Code of Virginia involving county land. This time, the chair will entertain a motion to go into closed session. Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
What's up?
Chair also aye. We also recess for 5 minutes.
Yes. Okay. That's where you got your email from. More information that you actually sent it on. Look at background, all that.